Hello, I hope y'all are doing well. We're going to start our lesson off today with formatting our chart elements manually. If you remember in the last video, we used the design ribbon and we used things like quick layout and change colors and chart styles up here on the design ribbon to change the elements. But those are all what you would call a predefined layout, meaning Microsoft created them. So today we're going to go through things and we are going to change some of those elements ourselves. So we can go through some of the terms that are really important in a chart and make sure that we understand what each one of those means. So some of those terms that are important here are the chart area, which is the entire chart and all its elements. Plot area, which essentially is behind what you would see in the columns or the rows. It's the area bound by axis. The axis is the lines bordering the chart area, so the ones that go up and down, vertical and horizontal. So you have y-axis, and then you have the x-axis, and those also have labels. So there's x-axis labels and y-axis labels. The data series are the row or the columns represented by a chart. They can be columns or bars or many other different types of styles. The title of the chart, which tends to be at the top. The data labels, which are the labels that tell you specifically what each one of the pieces means or the column means or the rows mean. And then the legend itself, which identifies each individual column or marker. So for example, if I come back over here to our 12/4 coffee and I go to our column chart. Okay, this is the plot area. Okay, this is the chart title. This is your y-axis title. This is your y-axis. This is your legend down here, just to name a few of the parts and give you a representation. So we're going to manipulate some of these parts here today in this video. So we're going to do the 2014 pie, and they say to click on the pie title, which is up here, and it says 2014, and it says to move the insertion point to the end of the label. So we're just double clicking in here and getting our cursor to the end. We're going to press the space bar and we are going to type in annual sales, and I'm going to press F7 just to make sure my spelling is correct. So we can add a chart title under quick layout or with our chart elements button over here. And then sometimes it will pick up a name based on what you've selected. And if that's okay, that's okay. And if you want to manually change it, you can just by doing what I showed you here. You can also right click and do edit text as well. Okay, now it says to select the label text outside the border for the title. And that means you're just making sure that the title is selected with a solid bold line. So you're applying whatever formatting to everything. And then it wants us to go to the Home tab. And in the Home tab, they want us to do the dialog box launcher for font. And they want us to turn off the all caps feature. So I press OK, and it'll turn it off. And then my S is not capitalized in sales, so I'm going to go in and do so because it should be according to the directions. Then I'm going to click back off, click back on, so I have that solid border again. Then it says on the Format tab, we are going to go over here to Insert Shapes, and we're going to pick Text Box, okay, which is under Basic Shapes, but usually it ends up under Recent because it's something that you use a lot. And the directions say to click the lower left, just click, not click and drag, corner of the chart area and type your initials in all caps and press enter and type today's date. So I'm going to click down here. I'm going to type in my initials. I'm going to press enter and I'm going to type in the date today. And now I've added a text box. All right, the next step is for us to edit components within our chart. So it says edit the chart titles on each of the following charts as follows. Be sure to spell check F7. the access titles are also going to get changed as well. So I'm going to pull that up here on this slide. This slide gets a little tricky sometimes. So we're going to go to the column chart, change the chart title, column, access title, line, chart title, stacked bar, chart title, clustered column, chart title. So these are the things that we are changing in our document. So I'm going to start with the column, and I'm going to change the chart title because it just says chart title. Do note, and I can click off and I can click back on, that I can select this, right click, and then I can edit it as well. And it's the same as just clicking or double clicking inside. So our chart title is going to be annual sales. And it does not have it in all caps. So if that feature was on, now you know to go to the home tab in the font group and the dialog box launcher to turn that off. I'm going to press F7 to check the spelling. Now it wants us to change the axis title, and since we only have one axis title, we should know that it's the y-axis title. Plus it says thousands, and this is value, monetary value, so it would be this y-axis that you would be changing. If for some reason you needed to add the other axis title, remember that's under design, and you go to chart element, and then you have axis title, and you could add the horizontal if you wanted to here. You could also come down to chart elements and do the same thing with that command. So I'm going to click in here on my y-axis title. I am going to type in thousands and spell check that and see how this works. If you spelled it wrong, it'll tell you so you can fix it and not lose the points. Then I'm going to go to line, and I'm going to change the chart title to annual sales, but I'm also going to put thousands in parentheses so I can tell them that this is the annual sales, but this represents in thousands of dollars. And I could do that with my access title if I wanted to, but they don't want to on this particular one. Then stacked bar. I'm coming over here and I'm changing the chart title to annual sales. Press F7 again. Press OK. And I'm going to go to the clustered bar. And I'm going to change that chart title to annual sales. Off. Now I've changed manually a bunch of different elements within my chart. All right, so the next thing we're going to learn about is formatting a data series. And again, this is essentially just doing more editing to your charts where you're changing all of the components. Now down here, I'm looking for my pie chart and I don't see it. Remember, these arrows down here in the bottom left-hand corner will allow you to see all the tabs once you have multiple tabs open or created. So I'm going to the pie chart, and they want us to select the largest piece of the pie, okay? So if I click it once, remember it selects every piece. I've got to click it twice if I just want the largest piece. So the directions say, click the largest slice of the pie. You can see the data selectors around each of the pie slices. Click the largest piece again, and it should only be around coffee and espresso in this case. So we're going to do the shape fill on this one, and that again is under format, under chart tools, the contextual tab. And if we come over here in the shape styles, I have shape styles, shape fill, shape outline, and shape effect. Remember, I can do all this from the pane on the right hand side as well. So shape fill, I'm going to press the down arrow, and they want us to do dark red. And I'm going to assume that's a standard color because there's no accent, percent, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to click on dark red. And that's how you can change one individual component manually. Now they want us to go to the column. So I go to column, and they want you to click the tallest bar. And the tallest bar is this blue one, which if you go over to the legend, it is the coffee and espresso. So when I click it, it selects every one of those columns that has to do with coffee and espresso. It says click the tallest bar, coffee and espresso. Notice that all 5 bars have been selected. And if you wanted to, with the same thing with this, if you wanted to just do one, you would click again and it would just do the ones for 2018 in this particular case. But I do want to format all of them, all 5 of them, all coffee and espresso. So again, I'm on the Format Contextual tab, and I am going to go to Shape Fill, and they want us to do dark red again. Now they want us to do the shape effects with the same range, the same coffee and espresso. Before we move on, note that this turned to dark red here in the column, and it also changes in the legend. All right, so under shape effects, we can change the appearance or the shape of our columns in our chart as well. So it says click the shape effects button, and they want us to find bevel. Okay, so down here is bevel. And then if you hover over, you can get the name of the one that you are looking for. We want circle, and that happens to be the first one. And then it says repeat this option for each of the data series. So they want us to make them all bevel. And I can't do control to do them all at the same time, and I can't do shift to do them all at the same time. So it is one of those things that you have to go in and you have to do individually, unfortunately. But note that you only have to pick one from each of the groups and all the columns change. Now, I didn't pick the gray one because I almost couldn't see it, so don't forget to select them all, especially if the data series is not that tall. Now they're all bevel shaped, kind of a cool little feature. It says in addition to the shape fill, shape outlet, and shape effects, you can also change the elements of shape styles, which is right here what I was talking about. And we also can do the dialog box launcher over here, and I can change a bunch of different components, which I'm going to go through and show you. So it says click each of the 3 buttons under the series options label. And these 3 buttons that they're talking about here are the paint can, which is going to stand for the fill in line, and the effects, and the series options. And sometimes, like I said before, you kind of have to click around to find that hidden element that you're trying to change. So it tells us to click each one of those at the top of the pane and look at the choices. It says click one of the coffee accessories columns. So coffee accessories is this gray color here. So that's what I'm on anyway. And they want us to go to the fill in line. And then we're going to come and you can see no line, solid line, automatic, color, width, compound type, the dashed, the join type, so on and so forth. Okay. So they want us to go to fill, not to the border. And again, no fill, solid, gradient, picture, text, so on, and you'll see what's about to happen. So we go to fill, and they want picture or texture fill. And once you do that, you could load a picture if you wanted to. You could pick something online. You can pick from their texture. You can make it transparent. You can stretch it. You can stack it. I mean, there's almost endless things that you can do. You can offset it. It's just like being in PowerPoint. There's so many different, you can spend so much time just changing and manipulating things for one little tiny component. They want us to do the picture and texture, and they want us to come down to texture, and they want us to do brown marble. So if I start looking at the brown things, that's paper bag, that's a woven mat, and there's brown marble. I click on that, and I get this lovely texture filled column to represent my coffee accessories. But again, these are all manual changes that you are making to your chart. Okay, so now we're going to change the chart border line. So we're going to use the line chart for this one. We're going to go to Format, and it says in the current selection group, which is over here on the left-hand side, they want us to ensure that we have the chart area selected. So if I click inside of here, that changes to plot area. If I click on this blue line, it says the series for the coffee and espresso. So if I want to ensure that I have the correct element selected, I can come over here to that current selection, and then I can click on whatever one it is, and then I know I'm formatting it. And then format selection, essentially, let me close this out so you can see it. If I click format selection, that essentially is another way to get to that pane on that right-hand side. Okay, so we're going to go over to the shape styles group, and we're going to do an actual shape styles this time. And they want us to scroll through, and you can see you get screen tips. Looks like many of the other color options that Microsoft provides. And we are looking for blue accent 1. So colored outline, blue accent 1 is right here. And it changes the chart area to this blue. Now it says in the format chart area pane over here on the right hand side, they want you to click the border arrow, and that's right here, and that would be under fill and line and then border. And they want us to click the width up arrow, so we're going to change the width to, and you press this up and it will change, and we're going to change it to 2.5. And you may or may not be able to see the width of the border change. I can go back over here. If you watch right about here, you can see it change as I increase the width. And it's just subtle, especially since we have that color on the chart area itself. It says to click the coffee and espresso line. So if you can't see it, or if you're not quite sure if you're clicking the coffee and espresso line, because see what happened? It kind of blended in with the background here. And you have a couple options. I'm going to click off. I just knew it was there because I had pointed it out before. If you go to format and you come down here, you can go to series, coffee and espresso, and you can still select it if you're not sure where it was in the chart. Now they want us to change the color of the, so that over here on the right hand side this time, so it's under fill in line, and we'd be under line because we're changing one of the line series, and it's under color, and we're going to pick dark red again down here. Now I can see it. Okay, next thing we're going to focus in is the legend. And we're going to stay on our line chart here. And it says to go to the Format tab. And I got to make sure I'm on my chart, of course. And then I'm going to come over here to Current Selection. And I'm going to pick Legend from the group. So then I know my legend is selected. I could just go down to the bottom if I wanted to. And it says in the pane over here on the right-hand side that we are going to go to the legend options, which is right here. It tells us at the top that we're under legend options opposed to any of the other elements inside of our chart. So essentially what this is saying is that you have the legend selected. That's all they're trying to point out to you. And it says on the, we're going to position the legend, okay? So I'm scrolling through fill and line and I don't see anything about position. Okay, you got shadow, glow, and soft effects. And then I have legend options. So sometimes you just got to click to see where you can find it. But I mean, it has nothing to do with coloring or changing effects. So you would think that it would be under this last one, which is called legend options. And we're going to move it to the right. And notice it instantly changes. Okay. Now it says to click the coffee and espresso label in the legend, which is this top one, the red one. And it wants us to go to the text options, okay, in the pane. And they want us to do a fill color of dark red. So here's your fill color, and then dark red. So essentially what we just did, and I'll undo that so you can see it, is we changed the line to dark red, but we didn't change those plot points to dark red. So we selected the legend and we've come over here. We're under legend entry options. We're under fill. And then we come down here to color and we've done dark red. And now you notice it changes in the legend and the plot points change to red. So they match. That's all we're trying to do with this option here. All right, now we're going to the pie chart. And they want us to click the coffee and espresso label. And remember, if you on pie charts, when you click once, it selects them all. So we're going to click again. So we're just changing the coffee and espresso. And we're going to go over here to our pane on the right-hand side. And again, if it wasn't activated, you could just go to Format under Current Selection and then Format Selection. And we are going to our text options. Okay, so we're over here, label options, text options, and they want us to change the text fill. So fill, color, and we're going to change this to dark red, so this matches as well. I'm going to undo that. That's the fill. We were going to change just the color. See how that changes the border. And that's changing the background. Now, instead of changing the label, we can change the text by coming over there and clicking on text options. So now if I go to color, I can do the text as that dark red. But now notice it's had them all selected, so it did it. So that's an easy, just press undo, double select this one, and it will go to darker. As long as you're paying attention to what you're doing, you should be able to fix any of the mistakes that you may have made. And many of the times you can just undo. Okay. Now we're going to get rid of, or add and get rid of some elements. Will be the last thing in this video segment. So we're going to go to stacked bar. And it says, if necessary, click the white area to ensure that the chart is selected. And it says click the chart elements button, which is right over this green little plus to the right, top right of the chart. And it gives us all the elements that we can add. And it says a menu appears showing which elements are currently on the chart, which means they're checked with a box, and which ones are not, they're unchecked. We're going to click Access Title to check the box and add both horizontal and vertical. And you see the titles come up here. It says Access Title and Access Title. It says the Access Title on the bottom of the screen has selection indicators. To indicate it is selected, click the formula bar above the chart and type in thousands. So what they're saying is it's selected down here. So whatever I do up here in my formula bar, it will appear down in my Access Title. So as soon as I press enter, it will change. Or I can just double click down here and I can type in there as well. It's just another way to do the same thing. It says now click the total line chart tab, which is right here. Go to chart elements, which is up in the upper right hand corner. And it says do the access title option again. This time the vertical access title is selected over here on the left hand side. And it says you can click any label placeholder to select it if it's already in the chart. It says click in the formula bar, and we're going to type thousands in again. Spell check. That's okay. Press enter. Then it says repeat the previous step and add vertical axis of thousands for the coffee and line chart. Coffee and line chart, excuse me. Plus access titles. Then I'm going to name the vertical 1000s. It's selected. I double checked it. Right. And also spell check. And then it says to add a horizontal to the clustered bar, because remember our bar is tipped over, so it's opposite. So I'm going to click in my chart, white area, add chart elements, access title. I'm going to come down. This is the one that is selected, and I'm going to type thousands in there as well. Now we've only done one of the two. It adds two of them. And then now it says click the stacked bar chart tab, chart elements, then select data label. And it says the labels appear for each of the bars on the chart. Notice that these are the bars that they are talking about. The labels tells us the value specifically. And that's how you add some of the elements in the chart. Now we're going to delete some of them. So it says on the stacked bar chart, it says click the vertical axis title, okay, which is this one. And it doesn't have a title. And we're just going to press delete on our keyboard and it goes away. So that's how you can get rid of one of them if you want. You could come over here and deselect them in the chart elements if you didn't want one of them, or you can also come up to design under add chart elements, access title, and you could manipulate things as well. Or you can just delete on your keyboard. Now it says repeat step 1 and delete the following generic access labels for the clustered bar. So we're going to go to clustered bar. And we are going to click on this vertical access title, and I'm going to press delete, and that one goes away. We're going to go to coffee and line, and we're going to get rid of the horizontal one. Select and press delete. I'm going to go to total line, and I'm going to get rid of the horizontal one. Select and press delete. Then I'm going to go to clustered bar, and I'm going to get rid of, well, I already did get rid of the vertical one. All right, then it says to go to the right click on the stacked bar worksheet tab, and we're going to go to move and copy. And in the before sheet, we're going to select clustered bar. So this is going to make a copy. I'm going to check create a copy, and it is going to put it before clustered bar. Now press OK. And we have now stacked bar 2. We're going to rename that. And remember, you can double click, you can select it, go to the home tab under format, you can right click, doesn't matter. as long as you name it 100% correctly, which is sales increases, or sales increase, excuse me. I'll press F7, doesn't work, so I gotta be sure my spelling is correct. All right, press enter to accept that name. And it says click the 150 data label, which represents our bakery, because our bakery is in orange. Okay, make sure you just pick the 150. Meaning you didn't pick all of these, which you really can't do anyway. So I'm gonna pick the 150 and I'm gonna press delete on my keyboard, and that is how I can get rid of just one of the data labels if I wanted to. And it says to repeat step 5, which is the deleting of those for coffee accessories, and coffees and accessories is the gray one. And then packaged coffee, which is the yellow one, and the deli, which is this darker blue one. Again, be careful, because if I select the actual bar itself and I press delete, that totally changes things. So make sure you're just picking the label here. Then it says, so we only left the data label for coffee and espresso, probably because we want to emphasize that one. Now it says click the annual sales title up here. And they want you to type in coffee, espresso, accessories only, consistent sales increase. So we're going to change this completely. Press F7. Spelling is good. Press enter and it changes it. It says you can also hide the data series. It says click the chart filters button on the right side of the chart. So that's this filter here. Remember, filters show or don't show things. It doesn't make them permanently go away. So I'm going to click on that. And I don't want to show bakery, so I'm going to deselect that. And then it says to repeat step 8, which is what I just did. I am packaged coffee and tea. I'm going to deselect that one. And then you could also do the years if you wanted to. And I'm going to press apply. And it is going to essentially not show them, but they're not gone forever. So I'm going to return those back on by selecting them. And again, pressing apply. That's the big thing. So I can see them all come back. All right. Hope you learned something. Thank you.